Coming up on today's episode, Cybertruck gets a rematch with the F-150, new Shepard takes to the skies, and we got some possible hydrogen power breakthroughs. Possibly. Maybe. We'll see. Let's get ludicrous. Hey there and welcome to Our Ludicrous Future. This is the podcast where we talk about all the cool future stuff that's gonna make tomorrow something else. I'm Joe Scott with the Answers with Joe YouTube channel. With me today is Ben Sullins.
Can't believe you did me like that, Joe. I was ready to lip sync battle with you, and it just didn't work out, man.
Well, put those lips
it's all
somewhere
good,
else,
though.
would you?
Mm-hmm. Well, we are, and no one else is here with us today. It's just us. Timothy is traveling, as usual. Is that as usual now? He travels enough.
He travels a lot, and not always when we're recording, but he gets out more than I do, for sure.
Mm-hmm. Well,
this is the guy that Jim Bridenstine asked to do a video, an interview with, so we can't compete with that. The guy's going to be traveling. He's high in demand.
So quick aside, yeah, because so Jim Bridenstine, he's the NASA guy, right?
Mm-hmm.
And
the NASA guy.
It was ironic because Tim was already going to be traveling, I think, for something else, and I think I texted him like, "Oh my God, are you going to get the NASA guy to interview?" And he's like, "No, that'll never happen." And then the next day, that's what he's doing. I'm like, "Dude, what? How did
Liar!"
Like, I'm just gonna be like, "All right, are you gonna interview Bill Gates next?" Like,
right.
maybe I can just have this psychic power on it. But he's traveling, interviewing someone else, I believe, again. So he'll have some cool content coming up. But it's just us today, and we're gonna have a whole lot of fun with all the fun news. So where do you want to start?
The two of us. No, I'll stop that then. Well, so I'm curious about this Cybertruck. I mean, we've had two in a row of pretty much nothing but Cybertruck. Let's just get it out of the way.
Okay. All right, let's do it.
Put a pin in it.
Tesla Cybertruck. How would you say that in Spanish? Okay.
Cybertrucko? Is it masculine or feminine?
El Truque, which is like the Mexican slang version. It's camión is the right way to say it, right? Camioneta. But anyways, all right. So Tesla Cybertruck, we all know what it is. We all know stuff about it. During the presentation, which was relatively short, they showed a video, or Elon showed a video of the Tesla Cybertruck in a tug of war with an F-150, and it towed it pretty, it kind of manhandled it uphill. Then a lot of people gave them crap for it because, as it turns out, that model, yeah. So I'm showing this video here from Jason Fensky of Engineering Explained, who I have a ton of respect for, and I love his stuff. He did this whole video breaking down the math of why that tug of war was pointless, as he puts it. And what it comes down to is weight. The F-150 they showed in that tug of war was a two-wheel drive version, or at least it wasn't going in four-wheel drive. So when you looked at the weight of that vehicle, it was peanuts compared to what we presume the Cybertruck will weigh. And so it was kind of, that was his argument that was kind of dumb because, well, yeah, of course it's going to win. So our good friends over at Cybertruck Nuts on Twitter just did their own video. And I believe they have here a Ford F-150 Raptor, which is kind of the fast, fun one. Although it's hard to say that it'll be fast and fun compared to what the Cybertruck will be. And they pitted it not against the Cybertruck because they don't have it. They pitted against a Model X P100D. And this was the four-wheel version of the F-150. And it's just like me trying to take my kid out of the house to get him to school. It was like he had no chance. So the F-150 just lost handily here in this tug of war against the Model X. And so the idea was, or reading their tweet, any more excuses, Ford? If the P100D can do this, imagine what the Cybertruck will do. And Elon retweeted this, of course, as you would imagine. Fantastic video. These guys did a great job. I couldn't find them on YouTube or anything either. I'm like, these guys look like they're used to doing this. They're a
little too good at it.
Yeah, they're a little bit too good in front of the camera. But I mean, I don't know. Joe, what do you think after seeing this video here?
Okay, so I thought that one of the points that Jason was making, some other people were making, was it was a weight thing, that the Cybertruck just weighed so much more than the F-150 that it's just naturally going to have more of a grip. Right. Because of the resistance against the ground. Is that something they accounted for here?
Don't think so. Okay. I am curious, though, because the Model X P100D is like over 6,000 pounds. So let's see, Ford Raptor weight.
Gotta figure this out.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, according to Google here, curb weight is 5,500 to 5,600 pounds, and so that's right in line with what the Model X is. The Model X, it's over 6,000 pounds gross vehicle weight, which means like with people and things in it. Okay. But yeah, so 5,500 to 5,600 is right in line with what
it's a pretty apples and apples thing with the X anyway.
Yeah, I mean it's pretty close. Now again, obviously, an electric motor at 0 miles per hour is going to have a ton more torque because it has your maximum amount of torque at 0, whereas an F-150 any combustion engine will have to rev up to get to its maximum torque. So in a tug of war, yeah, I think an electric car, pound for pound, is going to win. I don't know about uphill, and all that, but yeah, it was a cool video. I think these guys did a really cool job. And shout out to Cybertruck Nuts. They have these, as Joe knows what these are. If you're unfamiliar, they're little things that hang from the back of your truck that
oh, that's great.
That resemble a part of male anatomy that you may want for your Cybertruck. So shout out to them because that's pretty cool.
Well, I figured they would be chrome or stainless steel or something, if nothing else. It makes me think of that, it's that time of year, I guess, but the, the Glenn Ross speech scene where he's, you know what it takes to sell real estate? It takes brass balls to sell real estate. And he's like carrying them around with him.
Oh, yeah. So that went sideways quick. But yeah, so Ford F-150 Raptor, four-wheel drive, pretty close to the same weight of the Model X. And so the Cybertruck, again, would probably beat it handily because we assume that the Model X is going to have 150 kilowatt hour battery, and the battery makes up a huge amount of that weight. I don't know if the stainless steel weighs more or less. That was something I was trying to enlist Tim's help to get Elon to respond to, is how much does because they don't have a body, they don't have a chassis with the body, right? It's all the exoskeleton, it's all the monocoque design. So I wonder if that's actually heavier or lighter than doing it the traditional way, like how the Model X in that example was built. So I think that'd be an interesting thing as we get more specs about the Cybertruck to kind of dig into what the thing's capable of, because it's kind of nuts. Well, it's kind of cyber nuts.
Cybertruck nuts. So I thought that part of the exoskeleton thing was a weight thing. I know it's a strength thing and a simplicity thing. I know that's a big part of it. But I thought that it was supposed to be a little bit lighter too, just because you don't have that frame to deal with. But maybe I'm wrong about that.
Yeah, I mean, it's 3 millimeter steel, which is pretty thick, right? So that's like, it's a question of how. Yeah, I mean, what if your hand gets caught in the door as you're closing it, man? That thing, forget it. just say goodbye.
Well, and there were some people being critical of the whole thing and saying, what about a rescue situation? Would Jaws of Life work on a stainless steel hard exoskeleton kind of thing? I mean, maybe, I don't know.
I'm guessing no. I'm guessing it's not going to really do much there. By the way, quick mention of this. I don't know if we have a good shot. Did someone do it? Yeah, someone did it on Twitter. Hold on. So, Mr. Musk is driving around the Cybertruck in LA. So we've had a lot of sightings of it. And one of them, if I can find it, he was actually wearing one of Tim's shirts.
Yeah.
And then responded saying, "Yeah, that's one of his favorite shirts." Oh, I can't find it now. But yeah, so the question about the Cybertruck sightings with Elon driving it around. First off, how legal is that? I guess it's like, fine, give me a ticket. I don't care. But what like, are we going to see more of this? Because if you notice, we haven't really seen the Roadster at all. And that was 2017. That was 2 years ago when that was unveiled. And we haven't really heard or seen anything from it other than, I believe Franz took it out for a day to get some, like, for a photo shoot. And then it was on the Jay Leno show. They like drove it 10 feet or something.
Yeah.
And, you know, like literally just in front of the supercharger. And then that's been it. So I don't know. Are we going to see Cybertruck more? Is Elon just like, screw it, I'm driving it? Like, make another one. This one's mine.
Well, the road legal thing, my understanding is they have manufacturing plates on it, so it's like it's a workaround. Like they have special plates that make it so that they can drive it around if they want to.
To test it, essentially.
To test it, yeah.
Yeah.
They of course, I saw some Elon bashing article that pointed out when he left that restaurant, he ran over a road cone.
Yeah, did you see the video of it?
Yeah.
It was funny.
Like, he's destroying property. Oh, come on.
I used to run those things over for fun. like before I had nice cars, I would literally just like I would just, you know, when they're like dividing lanes, it'd be like, wee, ding, 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 ding.
Yeah.
Like I would just take them down. They're fun.
No, it was a Gizmodo article, and there's certain writers on that site that just have it out for him, and always have. But it was like, I guess the rules just don't apply to billionaires. Like he knocked over a road cone. It's not something anybody else has not done, you know.
Well, I mean, and the rules don't apply to billionaires, and water is wet. And the sun is hot.
Yeah, that's the worst thing a billionaire's ever done.
I know. I'm like, it's just kind of ironic. It's like, yeah, that's very true. Like it or not, that is how the world works, right? So
I wanted to follow up just really quickly while I was thinking about it. Some of the comments that we got on last week's video, we were talking about Cybertruck. There was talking about crumple zones.
Okay.
Now it seems like I read somewhere that that might actually be one of the good traits of that exoskeleton design, is it would actually like transfer energy around the vehicle, as opposed to if it worked with a frame. Now that might just be speculation, but I don't know. I just kind of wanted to put it out there because I read it somewhere and thought that might be an interesting take on it.
So it would be better. Like it would be better for who? Well, the person you hit, or you inside of there?
I'm guessing for you inside the car. If it well, maybe I don't understand crumple zones. I just read something somewhere about how like that exoskeleton might transfer energy around it.
Yeah, I think it's going to be fascinating to see. I mean,
crash tests?
Yeah, I was going to say those crash tests are pretty intense. I could imagine that thing just like destroying their crash test equipment.
It just destroys the barrier and
yeah.
Like,
the truck's fine,
actually.
Yeah. Here it is, by the way, the tweet. I was able to find it and the picture. So here's Elon leaving. This is from NC Bourbon, Birbhan on Twitter. Nikhil Shadare. Elon wearing his Full Flow Stage Combustion t-shirt. And Elon responded, yep, it's one of my favorite t-shirts.
Tim is just making us look bad at this point. Like,
I mean, I'm just trying to ride his. I'm trying to ride his coattails. Like, that's my friend, you know. Elon wears my friend's shirt. That's it, you know. Yeah. I gotta start making some Tesla shirts or something like.
The name of this podcast is going to change to Our Ludicrous Future, featuring Everyday Astronaut and other guys.
Yeah, with Everyday Astronaut and other people.
Yeah,
and the backup band.
So anything else about Cybertruck today?
I think that was it for Cybertruck. Cybertruck nuts and tug of war and Elon driving it around LA. So more Cybertruck to come, I'm sure.
Did you see, I guess it was that same outing, he was driving it down the freeway and somebody got some footage of it. They were pointing out that the light bar, it looks more traditional. It's got like the where the headlights would normally be, it was bright and it was just kind of like dim in the middle.
Right. I remember that was a weird thing people were talking about online too, was that the you know, that doesn't work, but being there firsthand, you could tell that where the normal headlights are, it was much brighter. So I'm not sure, what they had going on there, but clearly they realized that, that's probably like we should give the designers a little bit more credit than like, oh, you need headlights, idiot. Oh, like, no, of course they have headlights. Like, what are you talking about? So,
there was a fairly negative comment on the last the last episode where we were talking about this, and somebody was like, do you think that the designers and engineers of Tesla didn't think about all this stuff that you guys are talking about? And that's actually a good point. I'm going to give the guy credit. He was kind of a jerk about it, but it is a good point. Like, of course they thought about all that stuff.
Yeah.
And we just don't know about it yet, and they're under no obligation to tell us at this point. So there's probably a lot more testing they need to do, and
like the missing side mirrors, or there were some good questions though. Some things I would still love to know is, so for example, with the vault thing where it closes in the bed, does the back seat and stuff go down to where you could have that be totally flat and like camp in there? Because how cool would that be?
Yeah.
Otherwise, you can't really camp in there unless you have that weird attachment thing that they showed. But maybe that's cool or not. But anyways, I think that like there's so many interesting things that you could do with it that I want to know more.
Yeah.
I want to get
captured a lot of people's imaginations.
And a lot of people's money. Or at least $100 of it. So.
What's it up to now? Is it last I heard was 250, but
that's all Elon tweeted. There's somebody tracking this, and I don't, with data stuff, it's like the quality of the data is always a question. So somebody's parsing out reservation numbers, trying to figure out, like, based on the reservation number, how many of them have been reserved. And I saw someone reply to a tweet I sent out saying 400,000 now.
Wow.
I have a hard time imagining that being true. Maybe it's not.
I mean, that's more than the Model 3, right?
No, that's right in line where the Model 3 was. I think the Model 3, got up to more than that, but I think the Model 3 got like 400,000 in the first couple days. So, which was just absolutely nuts. So
that was 1,000 each.
Yeah, and that was 1,000 each. Yeah, that was all refundable stuff. Yeah. Anyways, I'm very curious to see how this is gonna work. I mean, how that steel is cheap, I think, right? That's why they make Starship out of it.
Supposed to be the idea, yeah.
But is it cheaper than what you make cars out of? Yeah. So many questions unanswered because of such a radical design. I'm like more interested in this than so many of the other things. So.
Well, luckily you only have like 2 years to wait before you find out anything else.
Cybertruckonomics. It's going to be it for the next 2 years. 3 years, probably.
Well, if you're ready to move on to another billionaire.
Yeah.
I've been working on that segue for a while.
Billionaire soup today. Let's hear it. Hit me with it.
There we are. So this is not the right, hang on. I'm not used to sharing my screen, people. So yesterday, Blue Origin launched the new Shepard again.
Whoa.
Oh, I have not shared the screen yet. There we go. See, I'm really good at this. So they launched it. This was the 6th one for that specific vehicle, 12th overall, and it still did not have any people on it. I don't know what they're waiting on. I mean, let's give them credit. They have launched this thing 12 times flawlessly. There has not been a single issue on any of their launches, which is spectacular. And it's just so funny to me that, here, let me pull up the video so we can actually watch this while I'm talking about it. Turn off the volume. But it's just so funny to me that, like, you got SpaceX, which is just blowing stuff up, just destroying their rockets left and right. And then you have New Shepard, or the Blue Origin, that they're just kind of sitting back, taking their time, and it makes me suspicious. It makes me think that they know something we don't.
So this thing does, and it does the full thing it's supposed to do for a person to be on it right now.
Yeah. I mean, unless they haven't gotten the cabin pressurized or something, but that doesn't sound right. I know it was carrying some experiments and some like student art projects and stuff like that. Just people said, "Hey, can I put this stuff on your thing?" And they said, "Sure." But it was only up in space for about 10 minutes, 15 minutes or something like that. The whole thing takes maybe only like 20. But yeah, it launched. It gets up. It separates. If we can show where it's separate. There we go. And then the first stage comes back down and lands.
That's
SpaceX
awesome.
is not the only company that lands their rockets.
It looks like they just have like one booster.
Yeah, it's only got one.
Oh, this thing's tiny, right?
Compared to the Falcon 9, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's my point of reference.
But yeah, I think that's a BE3 engine. They've got a BE4 that they're working on that's even more powerful. It's going to go on their New Glenn rocket.
Looks great, man. So cool.
Yeah, so that's the whole idea. Is it's supposed to be reusable. And then there's the capsule that comes down.
Their logo is a feather, right?
Yeah.
I always think it just looks like a stain mark or something. Or like some kid spilled ketchup and it stained it or something. Like, because on the seats on the inside of it, I remember I was like, what happened to they didn't clean that off before they before they did this demo, took these photos.
Yeah, there it lands.
So a person's supposed to be on that.
It's supposed to hold 6 people.
Okay.
And let's see if it has the little walkthrough thing over here. It doesn't look like it. The windows on it are supposed to be the largest windows that have ever flown into space. So, while you're up there for the, 5-10 minutes or whatever that you're actually floating, you can get out of your seat, float around, hold onto the window. Like the window's like the size of you. So you're like kind of...
Whoa.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
But it is more of a space tourist kind of thing. Like probably some rich people in the beginning and later on probably... anybody who wants to can do it, but you just fly up there and it's like a ride. It's like a...
That's amazing. And will it, so does it go past the Kármán line?
Yeah, so this one went up to, what does it say? 343,061 feet, 104,000 meters, about 65 miles, 105 kilometers. Yeah, I believe the Kármán line is about 100 kilometers, so
right.
It goes just past it. So yeah, if you ride on this, you'll get astronaut wings.
Woohoo!
Yeah.
Do they have a referral program?
So the last one that they launched was 7 months ago. So I guess this will be the second one that they've launched this year. It says they're planning on a couple more. Where did it go? Yeah, it says we got a couple more flights before we get there. This is Cornell. I didn't catch the person's name.
It's like Elon time.
Yeah, so I guess it says could begin in 2020, but if they're doing it every 7 months and they got 2 more, it might push it into 2021. Yeah. Blue
That's
Origin
so cool, man. That's
a fascinating
really cool
company to me because they just kind of take their time. I mean, that's even their name is like. I'm gonna screw it up now. It's Latin for forward motion slowly or something like that. Like it's even in their name. No, verociter gradatum. That's what it is. It means gradually and ferociously or something like that.
Did you say Veritasium?
I did not say Veritasium. He would sue them, I think.
Oh, there you go.
No, I gotta be honest. Like once this thing gets flying and stuff, if I had an opportunity, I would love to do it.
It seems amazing.
I think it'd be really cool.
I don't think I would. I don't think I would go.
Really? Like on anything, or just on this specifically?
I get car sick real easy.
Do you like roller coasters?
No, not at all. Yeah, I just don't imagine this being something I would enjoy. And I mean, if I got to go like for free or relatively cheap, maybe. But I'm not going to put a ton of money into something like this, personally. And I've got kids and stuff. I don't, excitement. That's a previous part of my life,
That part's over.
Yeah. I just get locked away in this box and make videos. That's all I do now. That's
it's not a bad way of going. I'm not a big fan of roller coasters myself. I never have been. Mm-hmm. I kind of feel like we are so coddled and we have such a comfortable life here in the West, in the first world and everything, that we have to actually create machines that make us feel like we're going to die. You know, like we're like such a lucky generation in the span of human history that we don't have to worry about like getting eaten by a bear generally in life. So we have to like concoct something to, you know, mimic that. But anyway, I proposed to my wife on a hot air balloon.
Okay.
Have you ever been on a hot air balloon?
No. Again, no. Not going to do it.
Well, once you're up there, it's very calm and peaceful, except for when they, you know, that was really loud. But you're just kind of floating around with the wind. It's not.
That's my problem. Yeah. So every now and then you'll hear, oh, gets caught in power lines, catches on fire, everyone burned alive. I'm good. It's like not.
I mean, it's gonna happen.
Yeah. Well, and I know, you know, it's dumb. I'm a data guy, and like me driving into work has probably infinitely higher chances of something bad happening than that. But still, it's like the risk reward, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, I go surfing, and so there's, you know, shark attacks.
Exactly. I would drown every time I tried that.
Yeah. Yeah.
But so when you're up in the air, it was nice and calm. But when you first got off the ground, you go up fast.
Right.
Like your butt clenches quite a bit. Like it's
you're like, whoa,
really, because you're literally tied to the ground, and they got this big thing full of hot air, and it's just ready to go. And then as soon as they let go of the rope, it's just pew. Yeah. And I almost crap myself, but that's, I guess, the closest thing I've come to any kind of rocket launch or anything like that. But it's not like flying in general, because when you're flying, you're like going really fast and you got wind in your face, and it's active and it's velocity and all that. It's not like that in a hot air balloon. You're just kind of like up there,
right?
Which is interesting.
It's like being on a helicopter versus a plane. Have you been on a helicopter before?
I don't think I have, actually.
It's kind of weird, right? Because you just fly over something and just hover.
Yeah.
And like this feels weird just to be sitting here up this high.
In a plane, if you're not going forward, you're going down.
Right. And my brother's a helicopter pilot. He was for 10 years in the Marines, and we had this big chat over Thanksgiving about it. It was funny. It was just like, I had no idea how complex they are to fly. It's like insane. He's like, basically, like, imagine a gimbal, but 3 of them all going in different directions, and you have to like balance all of that in order just to stay straight, just to hover. Like going forward or sideways is like quite a bit easier. But actually just hovering is pretty hard to do. And so, you know, it got me into like, why don't they just make drones? You know, like I just want a passenger-sized drone, which I saw at CES last year. But it was basically they went to Home Depot and just, you know, duct taped a bunch of crap together to inside. Look at our crazy big thing. I'm like, sure, cool.
No
like,
thanks.
Like none of it works. Like this is all a complete fake at this point. So,
yeah. Well, I mean, there's Uber's working on one. Blackfly covered that.
Well, I thought Blackfly is the one I went in. Blackfly is I think that's what it is. At CES, that was the one I got to go.
That was the one that felt like it was duct taped together.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
I think that's right. Let me just make sure so we're not like bashing the wrong.
CEO of Blackfly's watching like, hey.
Well, it just like, oh wait, no, this is Opener. Is this not Blackfly anymore? What is going on?
Oh.
Blackfly.
Maybe they changed their name.
Okay, no. Yeah, this is something else. I thought it was named something like that, but it was this was like a 6-seater one. Anyways, my friend Dan from What's Inside did a video on it because they like let us all go in first and kind of like film or whatever, and it was a Zach Jerry Rig everything was there, and he's looking around. He's like they got this at Home Depot. Look at this. Like we're just looking around at like it was like a 50-yard fake, you know, from like the other side of the room behind the velvet rope. You're like, whoa, oh my God, look at that. And then you get inside it, you're like, huh. Did they just? Is that from IKEA? You know, you're kind of picking it apart. Like, wait a minute, where'd you get that from? So
it's got an IKEA shelf in the background.
Exactly.
So yeah, I guess maybe they did change their name to Opener. I just pulled this up. It's maybe Maybe that's the name of the company, and Black Fly is the name of the car or whatever. Anyway.
Yeah. So, what else
Tangent.
we got? Yep. That's what we like.
So, tell me about this premium connectivity issue with the Model 3, because I'm afraid I'm going to lose my stuff.
Let me tell you all the things is... Okay, so Tesla just launched a new product. This is their first SaaS product, which is a bastardized name of software as a service, which now just means any subscription service. I hate how media does that. Anyways, this is premium connectivity. So if you purchased your Tesla on or after July 1st of 2018, and then you can get this upgraded connectivity bit, which is $10 a month, and it has live traffic visualization, satellite view maps, video streaming, karaoke, music streaming, and the internet browser. So a lot of the things that we use regularly, most probably is music streaming, I would guess, for most people, is no longer going to be free in your car if you got it on or after July 1st, 2018. So, Joe, when did you get your car?
Well, that's a good question, because, I mean, I got it in August.
When did you order it? Prior to that?
Well, I put in the reservations. No, yeah, it was before that, because I remember I was waiting a few months for it to finally come in. I mean, like, how do you know whether or not this applies to you?
You should have got an email. So if you didn't get an email, you should be good. So
if I didn't get an email, I should be good.
Correct.
Okay.
So the way it breaks down is Model S and X ordered on or before June 30th of 2018. So ordered is the key verb here. It's free premium connectivity for life. Just you just got it. Ordered on or after July 1st, 2018, it's eligible for this premium connectivity subscription. Basically, everything is eligible for it if you ordered it on or after July 1st, 2018, not delivered. The only one where it's not applicable is the Model 3 Standard Range and Standard Range Plus, because they did not exist prior to that. So basically, it's funny, they have this whole table breakdown, and it just says the same thing for everybody. So, excuse me. So, if you ordered your car July 1st or after 2018, you will now have to pay $10, regardless of the model. And I feel like that's kind of lame, because if I spent $150,000 on a car, I feel like it should, and it's been included. Now, Elon tweeted this a while ago. Hey, we're going to start charging for that, and that was about the extent of it. So then, all of a sudden, bam, here it is. I don't appreciate how they implemented these things, but I understand why they're doing it, and I think it's going to make them a ton of money.
Well, so is this just one of those growing pains that it's kind of like, oh, now that there's hundreds of thousands of these cars on the road, this is something that we can't just provide anymore?
Elon,
I feel like there's a few of those that are happening.
Even when I got my 2013 Model S, which I bought it and I got it used in 2016, that was one of the first questions, because the car just had internet service, and it had music streaming. It had most of those things. It didn't have the karaoke or YouTube or whatever, but it had music streaming and maps and traffic visualization, and it was just built in. It was actually a 3G connection, funny enough. But I asked, like, am I going to have to pay for that? And they're like, maybe. They really didn't know. Nobody really seemed to know. It was just kind of like, yeah, maybe in the future sometime. Who knows? And so now it looks like that's finally come to pass. And Elon has tweeted about it. So this wasn't a surprise, but it definitely seemed like it came out of nowhere, because it'd been so long, and we just thought, oh, maybe they forgot about it. Who knows? Finally, this was probably like a team of people, or like a team that's working on this, had a list of things to talk with Elon about, and like this was just low on that list. And then finally it got, you know what I mean, after like, okay, we got to reschedule. He's doing this Cybertruck thing. Okay, now we got to reschedule. So I'm guessing that this had been on somebody's list to like launch or whatever for a long time, and they finally got around to getting approval from whoever they needed to, and now here it is. So it's been coming. We know it's been coming. one big positive here is that people with standard range plus that previously this was not available. If you wanted this premium stuff, you would have to like buy a $10,000 more expensive car.
Yeah.
Now you can get all this stuff for $10 a month. So I think it's worth it. I think it's good. I think the take rate's going to be high. In fact, I did a little spreadsheet for you guys. So since July 2018, Tesla has delivered 429,400 cars. Just like pause on that for a minute.
Yeah, wow.
So they've delivered a lot of cars since then. And remember, it's about a year and a half, right? It's we're going on 2020, so it's about a year and a half now. The cost per month is $10. What do you think a take rate would be? What percentage of people do you think are gonna buy this, Joe? I put 90%, but
I mean, that sounds high, but if this is something that you've had all this time and suddenly it goes away, hell yeah, you're gonna pay for it.
Right.
I can't imagine not being able to do that stuff in my car anymore.
Right. So then, if we assume these numbers are correct, and of course these are somewhat out there, then they're let me see. I'm trying to unhide the shows here. So that means that they would be generating almost $4 million a month, $3.8 million a month in what you call in this business model, the SaaS model. The number you typically look at is called monthly recurring revenue, or MRR. And then that times 12 is annual recurring revenue, ARR. So you're looking at $3.8 million per month, or $46.3 million per year. That currently, if there were like 0 additional cars being delivered as of the latest public numbers we have.
That pays a few salaries.
Yeah, a couple. Now, if we how do I unhide all of them? Boom. Now, if we go out to we forecast using what I give them, I'm giving Tesla another 100,000 cars for Q4, assuming they'll deliver right around that. Then that puts them at 529,400 cars delivered since this date. And if you do that same math, we're at 4.7 million per month and 57.1 million per year. Then if you go out another year, you're looking at 1.1 million cars delivered since then at the end of 2020, which would be $10 million a month, 10.6 million, or 127.3 million in annual recurring revenue from this one little addition, one little tweet. So, Tesla, making money.
I wonder how much this is going to piss people off.
You think so?
I'm wondering. I don't know. I mean, I was kind of, when I saw the news come through and I just checked my email, it doesn't look like I got it, so yay. But, I mean, I was fully going to do it. I mean, if I needed to. Like I said, I can't imagine not being able to do that stuff in that car anymore. But, I mean, on one hand, I'm like, if you're buying a Tesla, you can probably afford $10 a month to pay for the stuff generally. But still, anytime somebody suddenly has to pay for something they used to get for free, it's not usually a good feeling.
Yeah, I saw a lot of comments on Twitter that were going in both directions. Like, what? This is bull crap. How come, and then other people are like, oh, thank God I can now pay for this because I previously did not have this. Yeah. So there's like on both sides, I think, it's kind of a wash. From a guy that, from my perspective, someone that wants this company to succeed, I love this, which means that probably from Wall Street's standpoint, they hate it. Like, oh, Tesla made $200 million more per month. Oh, terrible. Short them down. They're going down. Like,
they're going bankrupt.
Wait, what? Yeah, like they're making money. But, Wall Street has this like inverse relationship with reality where like something good happens that most people agree is good, which means they hate it, and vice versa. Like, company lays off 10,000 people. Everyone's like, oh, Wall Street's like, woo! You're like, wait a minute. So we'll see what the reaction is there. I think this is just the start. I think we're going to see a lot of subscription kind of things. And I think this is going to be a whole new segment of our relationship with transportation, really. And I know other companies are doing this or playing with it already. I've seen Uber I don't know how widespread it was, but in San Diego here, they were testing a thing where it was like, I think it was $40 a month, and then every Uber ride was $5, like no matter where you went. So it was kind of cool. You're like, I'm going to LA, woohoo, $5, you know.
Well, if you don't have a car and you rely exclusively on ride sharing services, I mean, it makes sense to just pay a subscription and just get to go wherever you want.
Until you find out how many people were murdered in Ubers, and so you're like, yeah, never mind.
Oh, you're so negative.
They just put out that report. I'm like, this is maybe not a report you want to put out. Like, why are you... Anyways.
I applaud them for being transparent about it, though.
Fair enough. But I just, when you look at it, you're like, 5 people murdered in Ubers, and you're like, wait, what? And then you're like, oh, but there were like 1.5 billion rides. So, it's like really low. I'm like, but still, like how does that...
Come on, you're a data guy. You should have a better handle on that kind of thing.
I completely understand, but public perception and people's reactions are completely irrational, right?
Yeah.
The shark attack thing. It's something like 6 people a year get bitten by sharks and like maybe 3 people die, versus the millions and millions of people that go into the ocean every year all around the world. Right. So the chance of you getting bitten by a shark is like lower than Taylor Swift dumping you. It's really low. But point being, we still have this tremendous fear of sharks. Yeah. So humans aren't rational beings. Otherwise, behavioral economics wouldn't exist, obviously.
Oh, and wasn't there a part of the... I heard somebody give kind of a breakdown of that whole Uber thing, and apparently the drivers are actually in more danger than the passengers from murders and rapes and all kinds of terrible stuff.
Yeah.
So they're more afraid of us than we are of them. It's like sharks.
It's like a spider. I was trying to find the numbers so that way we're not like misquoting this and getting in trouble.
Oh, facts.
3,045 sexual assault cases. Okay. It's not. It's like it's not like 4.
Yeah. It's not a pretty number.
Yeah. It's pretty scary. But I guess driving cars in general, it's like what is it? Somebody dies every 30 minutes in a car. So these things are all very scary. These are just like we went down this like Joe Scott rabbit hole. I feel like this is like the
this is why we stay in our rooms and talk to cameras.
Premium connectivity. Go buy it, people.
Wow. Yeah, we went from premium connectivity to the world is a scary place. Don't leave your room.
That's always been true.
Yeah.
So, fair enough. What else you got for me, sir?
Well, I thought I would share a little story that I ran across before we hopped on here. I thought it was interesting. It's about hydrogen. So I've talked in some videos about the hydrogen economy, hydrogen fuel cells and stuff like that. And there's a big debate, and we can talk about it between is hydrogen a way to go with renewable cars and I can't talk today. Is it better than electricity? And one of the pros of hydrogen is that you get more range. You can fill up really fast. It's more like gas. The cons are getting that hydrogen infrastructure built up, but also just getting the hydrogen out of water in the first place. And there's a couple different ways of doing it. One of them is electrolysis. That's literally you just zap, water, a special type of water with electricity, and that separates the oxygen and hydrogen. It takes a lot of electricity to do that, though. The way that most hydrogen is made is through what they call methane steam reforming, which is kind of a byproduct of fossil fuel refining. Anyway, so you got to use methane. It is not carbon neutral, or it actually is a very dirty process. And that's how 95% of our hydrogen is made right now. So the race is on to find newer, better ways to get hydrogen out of water. And according to phys.org, at the University of New South Wales, some researchers found a way of splitting up hydrogen through electrolysis, or splitting up water into hydrogen and oxygen, using nickel and copper, I believe it was. Let me go through. Where is it?
Iron and nickel.
Iron and nickel. Yeah, there it is. So usually they use precious metals like ruthenium, platinum, and iridium. And these are difficult to find. They're expensive, and this is going to use iron and nickel by creating these little nanoparticles in the catalyst. It says where they join at the nanoscale, where the magic happens. These are scientists saying where the magic happens. So I'll just read a little bit. The nanoscale interface fundamentally changes the property of these materials. Our results show that the iron-nickel catalyst can be as active as the platinum one for hydrogen generation. So what this means is it's a lot cheaper and hopefully a little bit more effective to get hydrogen out of water. So it's pointing out here that iron and nickel are priced at 13 cents in 1965 a kilogram. Ruthenium, platinum, and iridium are 11.77, 42.13, and 69.58 per gram. Per gram.
Whoa.
Thousands of times more expensive. So.
Yeah, why did they say 1 kilogram and the other one per gram? That's stupid. You should make them both. You need a common denominator here.
You're right. That would have made more sense.
Yeah.
But anyway, so yeah, I mean, but we go back to the argument again. Does this make more sense or less sense than just making lithium-ion batteries and charging your car and driving? I think there's a place for it for like long haul kind of stuff. If you're driving really long distances, hydrogen lets you fill up really fast and go further. But I don't know. Just I'm always up for these tiny little tweaks that can make a big difference down the road.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good point there at the end. Personally, I think, well, the whole source of, like, the reason that, from my understanding, the reason that the California pulled its zero-emission vehicle mandate back in the 90s, which is what killed the electric car back then, was the argument that we need to do more research into hydrogen fuel cells, and that the companies that powered that argument were the BPs and the Shells and the Exxons of the world. So it's really
methane steam reforming.
It's really hard for me to be objective about any of the technical side of this, right? Because I look at it and go, yeah, this just sounds like another scheme from the big oil and energy companies to try to keep people from going electric. Even though a hydrogen fuel cell vehicle is technically an electric vehicle, it just gets its power from the hydrogen fuel cell.
Right.
In theory, it seems great. I think actually your point there about so from a consumer standpoint, I there's 1,000 reasons why I don't think this makes any sense and we shouldn't even pursue it. But from the long haul side, that actually may be a decent argument because you can be less convenient in those regards. I don't have to be able to, as long as the economics work out, I don't care if it takes me a little bit longer to charge, or I only have certain places I can charge, whatever. I think that you can, and the amount of infrastructure needed for, let's say, long haul routes, I would assume is less than trying to replace the current infrastructure of every gas station out there. So I guess in that regard, it might be easier to do. And if you can make the economics work and the process isn't as bad as the, existing or previous process, then yeah, I'd be supportive of that. It's really hard for me to, it's almost, well, like other arguments or popular things online, like anti-vaccine things where you look at the source of it was a pharmaceutical company trying to discredit another pharmaceutical company by publishing a fake article. So even if there is any credibility to anything afterwards, you have to look at that and go, it's just hard for me to even entertain any of this because of the source of where it came from, right? So
yeah, no, I see where you're coming from.
Yeah.
The one thing that I do think there's some potential, and this is coming from a place of about, 70% ignorance, but if you could take a regular gas station that has its underground tanks, filled with gas right now, and you could repurpose those with minimal effort to hold hydrogen, and you could set up some cheap electrolysis type station right there at the place where it could make the hydrogen in situ, at the station, pump it into that thing underground, and everybody just go up and fill up there. That's wonderful.
Yeah.
But the problem is right now that's not that's not really the case. Right now it's, done through fossil fuels with methane steam reforming, put on a truck, hauled across the country on diesel fuel, and pumped into some tank. So if we could get to that place where it's all local and right there on the spot, I think that'd be great. And maybe things like this are a step to get there. If you could lower the cost of doing that, and if you could increase the efficiency of, having a few solar panels that could handle the whole thing, that'd be awesome. But
yeah, I agree. It's cool, or it would be cool. If we could get there, but it's so hard for me to even entertain the idea. I'm just like, forget it, man. In terms of transportation, I think is relatively easy. I think that when you're talking about powering a city, it's a bit harder of a thing to say, yeah, let's just throw batteries at it. I think it's possible, but the amount of effort it takes to make batteries that can power Manhattan is just crazy. It's just like, the energy density in those things aren't quite there yet. Obviously they can scale. It's not like it's not possible. It's just like, do you want hundreds of miles of batteries to charge to power, Brooklyn or something, where it's like, well, okay, like we could do other kinds of batteries or other kinds of things that maybe are more efficient, or other systems that are still renewable or better than maybe what is existing. Like, I think it's a process that we're going to work towards. I don't think that it's a silver bullet kind of thing. So yeah.
Well, and I think we can be really binary about it. It's like, electric, hydrogen. Well, they might work better for different, use cases, like we were just talking about a second ago. So, yeah. So
Speaking of batteries.
Oh, okay.
Do you got a new battery story for me?
Is this the me thing? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Let me see. I might try to actually read some of this. It's pretty hilarious. Yeah. Let me just read this to you.
Okay.
Maybe there's some viewers out there that are smarter than me who actually understand this. This is another story I ran across about 1 millimeter thick solid state batteries beat some performance benchmarks. So these are called thin film batteries, or TFBs. So let's get really excited by this sentence. Are you ready? Thin film batteries provide some of the highest energy densities of electrochemical energy storage devices, but the inability to increase the electrodes' thicknesses and control the geometry of the micrometer scale has thus far hindered their effective aerial energy density and integration into miniaturized devices. This is how people talk. So, some researchers from, I don't know where this is, please let me know in the comments, CEA-Leti, I guess that's a research facility somewhere. But anyway, no, they've come up with these new millimeter thick. Okay, sorry, is that micron? Is that what that is? 20 micron?
I don't know.
I'm not sure what that thing is. I'm failing as a science communicator right now. Anyway, they've got a millimeter scale thin film battery integrating a 20, let's just say micron thick lithium cobalt oxygen cathode.
Okay.
And a lithium free anode built on silicon wafers using UV photolithography and etching for successive deposition and patterning of each layer. That thing. Long story short, this is a very, very thin film battery that's supposed to have a much higher energy density than current batteries. Obviously, this is early in the research phase, so don't expect this in your Tesla anytime soon. But I don't know.
Huh.
Cool.
So wait a minute. Is this John B. Goodenough?
No. So looks like this is really for more like miniaturized devices, like so tiny energy storage units and medical, implantable, injectable, and wearable solutions. So this is like nanobot batteries.
University of Grenoble-Alpes. That's CEA-Leti. I'm looking now. So on nature.com, which if you guys are unfamiliar, is obviously like one of the, it's probably, is it the best, like most popular scientific scholarly journals out there? It's one of them.
It's pretty well known. It's up there.
Yeah. They have a whole thing here about millimeter scale thin film batteries are on a charge. And it talks about John B. Goodenough, but it was because he got the Nobel Prize for lithium ion batteries. Got it. And then these guys talk about, implantable, two very large electric vehicles, it says. I kind of wonder about where this is all going, right? Because in technology terms, like if you think about it, things like often work like they pull apart or they push together. So as hard drives got really big in terms of storage capacity, hard drives all of a sudden were massive, right? Like the size of a little postage stamp now can have a terabyte, which is mind blowing even to me. Also, files got really small. So you had things like MP3, which is a compression format for audio files, where if you get an uncompressed audio file, the FLAC, I think FLAC format, they're much, much larger, and they have more. Yeah, that's better, but often your ear thing or ear holes and the things making the sound in the ear holes aren't good enough to notice the difference between an MP3 and a FLAC file. So they kind of worked, towards each other, right? One got bigger, making it easier to store bigger things, but those things also got smaller at the same time.
Right.
With electric cars and batteries like this, it's like I kind of wonder at the same time, like, are we going to start making smaller electric cars when we can have smaller batteries? Or cars, have they found an equilibrium of like, this is how big a car should be? Like Model 3, perfect size car. Or is it going to be, let's make the smart car thing? Or like, and even in Europe, they have these like, it's like a motorcycle basically with like a car around it. Have you seen these?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So those kind of things, like a 3-wheel kind of thing. Like, are we going to start to see, because there's a challenge there. And this is like that, rocket equation version for electric cars where like, yeah, the thing is small and light, but there's no room to put batteries. Like you need a fair amount of room. So what's going to happen? Are we going to see electric cars change in size and shape, or are they just going to stay how cars are because that's just what, like we've already settled on the right size of a car?
Yeah, I think there's a behavioral inertia going on there with cars. Like, I mean, and that depends. Like, if you go to Europe, their idea of how small a car can be is very different from over here.
That's right.
We kind of go the other way. It's like, I need a Hummer over here. But
Cybertruck.
Yeah, exactly. That's my take on it. Like, there's all these things. This is gonna sound like I'm crapping on somebody. I'm not. I don't mean to. But like Arcimoto, are you familiar with them? Mm-mm. They're like the 3-wheeled electric fun machine kind of things.
Okay.
Whenever I see, I'm really not trying to crap on them. I'm sure they're a lot of fun, and I'm sure they're good people working on it. But
I see. Yeah, these kind of things.
Yeah, I mean, I see a lot of people getting excited about them, and some people acting like that's the future of electric vehicles and stuff. And I'm just like, to me, that looks like what people thought electric cars were going to look like back in the 90s. Like little dinky things that look kind of underpowered. I mean, he's literally using it as a golf cart right there.
I'm in. I would love that on the golf course.
And I'm sure they're a lot of fun. Again, I'm not trying to like crap on it, but I don't see that becoming like the new thing that everybody drives around,
Yeah.
And I'm all about like transitioning our transportation economy and whatever into electric, and honestly, that's kind of how I felt about Cybertruck too. I was like, I was looking for something that was going to transform the truck industry. I'm kind of making enemies right now as I say this. That was my first thought when I saw it. I was like, this isn't something that's gonna. It looked like a very niche thing,
right?
And with 400,000 pre-orders, maybe I'm totally wrong about that. But anyway. Again, not trying to crap on these guys. It just seems like a very specialized thing. And it might be in other places in the world, cars like that, especially, in Europe where the streets are so much smaller. People might be more willing to drive smaller cars like that or smart cars and whatnot. Here in good old America, I don't know.
Yeah, I think it's different different applications. Like, have you ever been to Catalina Island? It's like off the coast of California here. Like there's no cars on the island, so everything is golf carts and walking. So like something like this might be cool.
Sure.
Or,
yeah. No, exactly.
Or like even as like an island, like somewhere like Hawaii or something. It's like you don't need 500 miles range on an island that's only 30 miles around. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think there's some applications for these. I'm not going to take my kids to school in this and then, head down. Mostly because if I get hit by a Ford Expedition, I don't imagine that faring well with like not having doors is probably not, or So yeah, and I don't know what the safety rating is just to be clear. It's just kind of my opinion, looking at it, going, when it's raining and stuff. But yeah, I think this would be fun, like in certain areas. Like I could see this where my studio is in downtown. Yeah, like I bop on my electric skateboard around because it's just way more convenient. But yeah, this isn't gonna replace my Model 3 or anything like that.
Yeah, I used to have a Vespa, and I eventually got rid of it because I just don't live in a neighborhood I'm surrounded by very large streets, and I didn't feel comfortable driving it around with people in Ford Expeditions
one too many times.
350s. Yeah, so I stopped using it. But back in the day when I lived near, if anybody's familiar with Dallas, I lived near Greenville Avenue. That's where all the restaurants and bars are and stuff. It's one of those areas, and it was great. I could just hop on that thing and pop over there, and you'd park on the sidewalk. Didn't have to worry about parking, and it was awesome. So I could see the use case for that, sure.
Yeah. It's not going to replace your car, but
to your point that as the batteries get smaller, the cars might get smaller. I just feel like as the batteries get smaller and more energy dense, we'll just put more batteries in there and get more range.
Well, it could be cheaper too, right? Because how much range do you really need? And I hate when people say that about electric cars, because what they're saying is like electric, because there's two sides, right? There's like, oh, well, electric cars will always be these like cute little city in town things. They're super efficient, whatever. Like I met a guy who said he bought his Chevy Spark because of my channel. And I was like, what? I never even talked about that. But the point was, his daughter just moved like 40 or 50 miles away to go to college, and he is retired. So he was like, what do I need a car for? I don't go anywhere. My only place I'm going is to my daughter's. So this thing was $9,000. It had, 15,000 miles on it. And it was like, yeah, that's fantastic. So
how many what's the range on that?
I think it's like 90 miles or something.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's not terrible. But it's a town car. You're not going to go on a road trip in that thing. So I hate when people talk about electric cars like that, because if you really think the future is electric, you have to think every single use case has to be replaced by an electric option. And so, but really, there's like probably a point where, depending on your charging speed, you don't need more range than that. So. And I think we're pretty close. I would argue right around 400 miles is probably, with 250 kilowatts or faster, maybe 350 or 400 kilowatts. You're fine. You're really fine. You'll drive for 4 hours, 3 hours to 4 hours, and stop for 15 minutes. That's as good as road tripping gets, I feel. Now I know some people are these marathon runners that don't care, can go for 90 hours without having to pee. But I think most people...
Marathon bladders.
Yeah, most people are not gonna really road trip more than that. And most people don't road trip at all anyways, but even if they do. So I think we're there pretty much with electric cars already. So I don't know. So back to the point, reason I'm talking about that, if your Model 3 could have 1,000 miles range but cost triple the price, would you do it? Like, probably not, right?
No.
I mean, if you could get double the range and it cost $10,000 more, maybe. Right? Because it's still in normal car prices. You're not spending $80,000 for that thing,
right?
Which I guess for some Tesla people is the normal price, anyways. But point being, like, I don't think people are gonna want 1,000-mile range electric vehicle, except nerds like me whose job it is to have things like that. Like, do you need 85 megapixels on a camera, or is like 40 good enough? 40 is probably fine. So
I'm still surprised how much range anxiety some people who don't have electric cars feel when they get in an electric car. I don't mean to call out my wife or anything, but like, we traveled over Thanksgiving, and every time we travel in my car, she's still just like, she's panicked the whole time.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, it's okay. we'll be all right. There's the superchargers and blah, blah, blah. And I think there's still a lot of people, when you haven't had the experience of owning one, it just, that gets... I'm not going to be able to get anywhere. So, I mean, to have a car that did have 1,000-mile range on it, something that's better than what they're used to.
Right.
It might take that away and spur some more adoption.
Yeah, I think if we could get the batteries smaller and cheaper, then hopefully it would just drop the price. That would be more of the tipping point that I think we would I would like to see personally. Is like, imagine now if your Model 3 was the same price as a Honda Civic.
Right.
And you're like, yeah, it doesn't get 700 miles range, it gets 350. But that's all a Honda Civic gets anyways. And you don't go on when you do go on a road trip, you stop at a V3 charger for 10, 15 minutes and you're good to go. Like, I think if you could get down there, and then you would get into, okay, well, let's look at the cars from a feature standpoint. Oh, look at how amazingly advanced and great this thing is compared to this piece of junk. Okay, I'm gonna buy that one because it's way doper. But that would be, I think, the better. Like, I guess to me, that's what I'm really after. It would be cool to have 1,000-mile range EV, but I think it'd be way cooler to have like a $15,000 EV that had decent range.
Well, and the extra energy density could get us in both directions, hopefully.
Yeah. Now I wonder about
both options.
I wonder about charging on a solid state battery and those kind of things. Yeah, because you did well. Obviously, is that your most popular video now, the solid state one?
No, it's still it's still a severed head thing, but it's number 2.
Now, did you talk about charging solid state batteries?
Not really. Because there's not really anything to go on yet, Right.
Because that would be, I'm curious how it would work, right? Because heat is your enemy that causes, that is the thing you have to deal with. Because if it gets too hot, you're going to kill the battery. And so that's why you can't just charge at a gigawatt per second or something. Yeah.
Now, I know one of the benefits of solid state was supposed to be that it prevents the formation of dendrites that can short out a regular lithium ion. What that has to do with charging in terms of speed, though, I don't know.
Well, that's essentially, from my understanding, that is the why you don't. That's what heat does. Is it causes all those things and all those problems. So if you're somehow able to eliminate that entirely, then you should be able to charge at insane speeds.
Yeah.
I'm just, I want to see it, It's a bit above my pay grade in terms of my knowledge, but that would be fantastic if we could have 500 miles range on let's say a top spec EV with a recharge time close to 100% of 10 minutes. Dude, you're there. You're parity with gas cars, and then the arguments, all fall down, because then I charge at home every night. It's way cheaper. Like, it's safer. There's a bazillion things that are, come to play, and no longer is range anxiety a even thing to consider. So,
maybe last thing on this topic, but I was just kind of curious if you knew anything about it. Do you know anything about Tesla expanding their supercharger network significantly? I mean, I know they're always building out and working on it, but again, over the holidays, I almost never go anywhere with my car outside of Dallas, unless I'm going someplace on the holiday. But no, it just kind of occurred to me as I was driving around over Thanksgiving that there's no new superchargers between anywhere that I'm going. Like, they haven't built any out. And the last 3 times I've stopped to supercharge, I had to switch chargers because the one that I parked in originally didn't work.
Didn't work at all?
Yeah, it couldn't. It wouldn't, it wouldn't work. So
what's going on?
I was just kind of wondering, like, is this something that's going to be expanding soon, or?
Yeah, so it
got me a little concerned, to be honest.
Yeah, it's been expanding quite a bit. So you're in Dallas. So you can see now. So here, do you see this gray one and this other gray one? So you can actually go see in Mesquite, downtown. It's coming soon. Target opening in 2019. So if you go on to tesla.com/supercharger, I think it is, you can see, and then you can kind of filter out. So if you want to, destination chargers, whatever, you can see the superchargers. and it'll show you existing ones, and then the gray ones are the coming soon.
Okay.
So you can actually see that overall. Man, it doesn't look like Houston's that far. How far of a drive is Houston? That's pretty far, right?
Oh, it's a good 4 or 5 hour drive.
Oh, this is the triangle. Or what's this called?
Yeah.
The Texas Triangle?
I don't know. Does it have a name?
Dallas, Austin, Houston. I didn't know.
It's a lot of terrible roadways.
Dang, where is Lake Conroe? Because is it right there? Isn't Conroe just north of Houston?
I think so. I have not spent a lot of time in Houston, to be honest.
I need to go back. I just saw these baby photos of me at Lake Conroe. So, anyways, yeah, so you can check that out. And then I believe we have, I don't know if I published it. I did some analysis a while ago just about the growth of it. Supercharger rate calculator. No, I don't have it published. But, it's growing. And I would honestly say it's growing pretty significantly. I think they're upwards of 17 or 18,000 stalls now. And so, yeah, it's easily the largest compared to anyone else.
Well, yeah.
And it's funny, though, because what you'll see when you see people talk about this online is you'll see Tesla talk about the number of stalls they have, actual plugs that you can plug into. And you'll see other people say the number of stations. And there's a big gap there because a station will have 3 or 4.
Right.
Whereas Tesla's stations will have, 12 to 40. So you're like, yeah, not really the same thing. Just because you put 3 of them up in one location doesn't mean you have the same coverage as Tesla does.
Yeah. Well, and again, my experience is skewed because I was driving over, Thanksgiving. So, of course, there's, twice as many people, 3 times as many people on the road.
Yeah, I saw some tweets and stuff from some people about waiting, and in fact, the V3 charger in Las Vegas was down. I think half of them were down, and that sucks because first off, it's a pain in the butt to get to. So you only really go there if you want the V3 charging, or if you're going to be staying right there or something, because I think you have to pay $20 to even go in and use it if you're longer than a certain time limit. So that it's basically you're going there for one reason alone, and then they're all out. Oh, anger, just rage. By the way, just quick shout out or plug for TesLab, because we get a ton of reports. So I don't know if you've seen it, but if you are in TesLab and you're at a supercharger and there's a problem, it'll pop up and you can say report a problem, and we actually feed that data back to Tesla. So if you guys don't have TesLab, I would recommend going and getting it for that reason alone. Is first off, you can see if there are problems there. From other people that report them, and it's kind of like a comment thread. So you can actually click and see the rating of food, of bathrooms, of stuff like that nearby. And there's a comment thread attached to every supercharger station in TesLab, so you can see kind of what people are talking about if there's any issues or that. So kind of a useful thing, and it's free. We do have a pro version coming soon, but the free version will always be there.
That's cool.
Yeah,
I got really lucky. There's a place. What's the name of it? It's in Waco. Yeah, it's in Waco.
The Silos
Street Bakery. Yeah. But no, we pulled in and we started charging, and then we just got super lucky because right after that, a big huge line formed. I mean, 8 cars back, waiting for it, but that was again the first spot that I stopped in. It didn't work. So that kind of sucks when there's 8 people and there's one charger that just simply doesn't work.
And then you move out of it, and then someone else is like, "Oh, sweet."
Yeah.
And they go in there, they're like, "Damn it."
And then they got to get back in line. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's funny. At some of the ones in California here, we have attendants, actually. People that come and keep track of who's next and all that stuff.
Oh, wow.
And also to prevent people from fighting.
It's like a Chick-fil-A in Texas.
Yeah.
Do they have Chick-fil-A's in California?
Oh, yeah. They just put one up by my house.
It seemed like such a southern thing.
Well, out here, and it's funny, too, because, In-N-Out's a big thing out here.
Yeah.
I never go. I don't like it. If I'm going with a group of people, I'm like, fine. It's better than McDonald's, I guess.
Yeah.
But at this point, I'd probably rather go for the Impossible Whopper than In-N-Out. But because the name In-N-Out's kind of a lie, because the lines are always so long and it takes so much time. There's no out. You just go in. You're just there. It's Hotel California,
like a Roach
man.
Motel.
Yeah,
you check in and never check out.
That's it.
It's funny.
Oh.
Well, have we covered everything there is to cover?
That is it. We have solved all of the mysteries of the internet and the universe.
We are terrible at why don't they just? Because every time Tim isn't here, we totally forget about it, don't we?
We do. We do. Why don't they just not forget about it?
Yeah.
Why don't they just not be terrible at it?
That's one question we can't answer.
Yeah. Tim is the why don't they just man. It basically, because all the questions are space questions anyways. I guess once in a while we get a EV question or something.
Well, he's gonna come down on us like a sack of bricks.
Well,
for not having a why don't they just?
He can stop traveling and being so awesome, and
he can come back down to our world.
Yeah, not
crying out loud.
Not so much of an everyday astronaut. He's just an astronaut. Forget this everyday astronaut thing. I'm a weekend astronaut, okay?
I wonder if he'll go up on New Shepard.
Oof, maybe that's what he's doing.
Why don't they just do this? Why don't they just do that?
Why don't they just use a giant drone? You guys already have batteries. You have motors. You know, and it could be cheaper than operating a helicopter. You could even do 4 of them that fly in unison. Why didn't that end up working out?
Well, I mean, I'm trying to get my helicopter's license.
I know.
So using a helicopter is great.
Is this just you wanting to fly a helicopter more often?
No. But I mean, there's a small element of that. But no. I mean, mid-air recapture with a helicopter, it's been done before.
Right.
And I know a lot of people look at that and they sort of think, man, that's super tricky, and how are they going to pull that off? But really, that's relatively academic compared to actually re-entering the stage and getting it through one bit.
Right. Well, and did you work with the company that was based out of, was it Scotland or England, that has the recovery system? Really?
No.
Okay, because everyone, of course, on the internet immediately saw what you guys are working on and go, well, this has already been done. Here's a video of a company recovering it was a mock-up booster with a parafoil and.
Yeah, I mean, and it's been done. Lockheed Martin did it. I think it was in the 90s to try and recover some re-entered artifacts. So, yeah, I mean, it's in if you go back far enough, you look at the Corona missions. Although it wasn't a helicopter, it's still the same gig.
Right. Same,
So
getting through re-entry, popping a chute, swooping it out before it hits the water.
Yep, that's pretty much it.
And how much time do you have between when the parachutes deploy and before it hits the ground?
Yeah, so that's the idea of the parafoil, is we can steer it into the wind and maximize the hang time there.
Oh, cool.
So you could have up to 20 minutes.
Really? So you could have multiple attempts with the helicopter.
Yeah. Yep. So we're trying to limit the descent rate to a maximum of 10 meters a second. So you get a decent opportunity to go and scoop it.
Okay, that's pretty cool. So I guess no autonomous drones in the near time future.
No. There was talk of autonomous ships at one point, but no. No autonomous drones at this point.
Okay, so that's your why don't they just use
Pete likes flying a helicopter.
Because Pete loves flying helicopters. That's why.
Why don't they just do this? Why don't they just do that?
Okay, what else you got going on, Joe?
Well, so last week I lied. I was talking when we did this whole "what are we working on next" thing. I started talking about the video that's actually coming out this week. And the reason why I was thinking about it was because I was still working on it at the time. I actually wound up doing a video on Monday about the superconducting super collider, which was this particle accelerator that was supposed to go up here in Texas and never did for all kinds of political reasons and stuff.
Because Ross Perot, right?
Well, he was the biggest advocate, and he might have been the thing that doomed it. So, I saw him at the mall one time.
Really?
I did. I walked right past him. Little old man walking with his wife, and I was like, "That's Ross Perot."
Didn't get caught in his ears or anything?
No, it's not a great story, but I saw the guy. But anyway, so what I was actually working on this week, what's coming out on Monday, is the one about industrial scale energy storage, which kind of ties into what we were talking about with the hydrogen thing earlier. So that's part of it, is hydrogen storage. I kind of covered it last week, so I don't want to go over it too much now. But it's coming out on Monday, and it's some pretty neat stuff.
Cool. And I think we teased a little bit about what I'm doing a video on is about that the premium connectivity, and just kind of so if you count that as a product launch, which I do, because it's like a whole new revenue stream for Tesla, because I don't have anything, I guess, supercharging, but there's not like a subscription service for Tesla at all now. So this is actually a whole new, in my mind, like, companies offer goods or services. This is the first like service offering, the SaaS model. And I wouldn't be surprised if we start to see more features and more things from Tesla like that. Like Autopilot would be a great example where you just pay, a monthly fee instead of, ponying up, or full self-driving, I guess, because Autopilot's included. But like you don't pony up $7,000 right now, but you do $20 a month or something like that.
So I was thinking that earlier. I think once they get full self-driving fully down, we're going to be seeing a lot more subscription stuff, not just like what you're just talking about there, but also just almost like the ride-sharing service kind of thing. When they have the Tesla network, that's pretty much what it's going to be, it sounds like.
Well, and Porsche has this, actually. What's it called? Porsche subscription price. That's not it. Yeah, it's $3,000 a month. Porsche Passport. Mm. It's a vehicle subscription. And I was so when I got to drive the Porsche Taycan, and I met with the PR team and all that, and I was like, she was the PR woman was very hot on this topic, and she was like, yeah, this Porsche Passport. I'm like, I'd be willing to do a review of that if you want to just like hook me up for a year, because what they do is they'll bring you whatever car you want at any time. You're like, hey, wow. You know what? I'm gonna go on a road trip with my family. Can you bring me a Panamera GT hybrid? Cool. Okay, yeah. And they'll like have a guy come to your house with this, take your current one, and then take it back to the shop. And then, cool, I'm back from the road trip. Can you bring back my 911 GT3? Like a $200,000 sports car? Yeah, sure. Here you go. And they'll just come drop it off. So they like, now, apparently, according to what I was saying, or what I just saw online, it's $3,000 a month. You're driving I mean, like, I think the Porsche owner that's a really hardcore fan, money isn't the thing that you care about, right? I just want the dopest car, and they like that. So
I'm just comparing that to the cost of an actual car payment. Even for a really expensive car, that's still way more. But I guess you could drive a brand new whatever you want at any time.
Yeah.
And could you keep it as long as you want it?
Uh-huh. Yeah, because you're as long as you have a subscription.
Yeah, I mean, if you have that much money.
I'm like, can you guys just give me like a free year membership for I'll do a video, do a quick shout out?
I mean, that's some like, that's some black credit card kind of stuff. American Express black card.
I wonder, but if you think about it, okay, so if you were going to buy, let's say top spec Tesla, $7,000, $110,000, taxes and fees, and then have a loan or a lease, you're going to be paying what, $1,500 a month or something like that, maybe more. And then you have insurance on top of it, and well, I guess you still have to pay for gas for your Porsche one. So yeah, I mean, I guess my point is like maintenance is gone, so maintenance costs are zero. Fuel you still have to pay for, but insurance I imagine is covered, because how could your insurance handle like, oh, next week I'm gonna have a different car. Okay, next week I'm gonna have another different car.
Could you imagine?
So I'm sure the insurance has to be covered through them. I mean, I guess what I'm getting at is it's not like having a $3,000 a month car payment. It's like $3,000 total is not as much as it may seem,
Yeah. Well.
And if you're talking about a $200,000 car, yeah.
Well, let's just see if we can make that happen in the next year or so.
Just need another 600,000 subscribers. Congratulations, by the way. I don't know if we talked about it. 600,000 subscribers.
Bro, I'm at like 675 now.
What? That's it. I quit.
I was hoping to get to 700 by the end of the year, but that's not going to happen. It's all right.
Yeah.
No, thank you though. That was very nice.
Did you get hit by the reduction, the fake subscriber removal tool?
No, not really.
Yeah.
No.
It's funny. At some point, you're like, I don't even pay attention anymore.
Well, I've talked before about how whenever I have a giant spike, the next month is usually kind of low, and that's what seems to be happening this month. And the fact that I'm only putting out one video a week is probably not helping, but it's going to be a kind of a slow month.
Yep. So. Cool. Well, I think we did it, bud.
Yay. Now, should we shout out the whole fully charged thing? We got to make sure and talk about that some more.
Yes. Go for it.
Oh, well, do you have the graphic anywhere? I don't have it in front of me.
I can share it, yeah.
For those of you who are interested, we are going to be doing our own live show and we're going to be doing other things too, at the Fully Charged live event on February 1st and 2nd in Austin at the Circuit of the Americas. If you're not familiar with the Fully Charged YouTube channel, definitely should go check that out. It's one of the best out there. I'm totally jealous of the content that they produce. But yeah, they're doing a whole thing in Austin, and the three of us are going to be there, as well as the Now You Know guys, Gally Russell, Rich Rebuilds, on and on and on. So it's going to be a lot of fun, and we're going to be doing some different panels and whatnot, and they're going to have some Rivian trucks there, and it'll be worth going to. I'm really excited about it.
Now, are we going to bro out in Dallas and then drive down, or am I just going to meet you in Austin?
It's up to you, bruh. Bruh.
I want to get the full Texas experience, so maybe I'll come to Dallas and then we'll.
We'll meet in Dallas. We'll drive out to El Paso, and then down to Corpus, across to Houston, go into the piney woods of East Texas. It's a great big land.
Yeah,
so much to see.
No, that'll be good. We should get an Airbnb though. Let's do that. So let's coordinate the things.
I'm cool with that. I just didn't know if they were gonna put everybody up in like the same hotel and I'll hang out or something. I didn't know what the plan was, but
yeah, we'll figure it out. But come join us, guys. It's gonna be fun.
We'll take this offline.
Yeah. And we will see you
in
our ludicrous
future. Hey, thanks so much for listening. If you like what we do and you want to kind of help get it out there, you can give us a nice review on any of your podcast streaming platforms, whichever one you use. That kind of helps get it out there. Also, we do have a Patreon set up, so you can join us there at patreon.com/ourludicrousfuture. You can get your name in the credits, meet a whole other group of like-minded people. It's a lot of fun. We do appreciate it. We'll see you there. Thanks.